Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm making shepherd's pie soup. Alright, I'm starting out here in a stock pot, and I have roughly 1.5 pounds of ground beef I'm browning up. And after it gets about halfway browned up, I'm going to add in some onion to saute in with the ground beef. And I'm going to have to drain the grease off because this isn't lean ground beef. Browned my ground beef and I added in the onion. And I drained up about half of the grease. I'll have probably about 2 or 3 tablespoons because we're going to add in some flour. But first I'm going to add in some garlic. I'm using a pre-minced garlic in the jar, but if you use fresh, use about 3 cloves diced up. And I'm going to add that in. And I had some potatoes over here boiling for the mashed potato part, because this is shepherd's pie. And I'm going to give that a stir. I have my heat off, and I'm going to turn it back on to medium. You just want to stir your garlic in until you start to smell it. Okay, now I have a 1/2 cup of flour. I'm going to sprinkle that in. I'm going to allow my flour to cook in here just for a minute to get the raw flour taste out. Alright, now that I allow my ground beef to cook for a few minutes to get that flour taste out of there, I'm going to add in 4 cups of chicken broth. And I'm going to do this a little bit at a time so that I start to get the broth mixed in with the flour. Now guys, if you were to take a shortcut, you can make this with instant mashed potatoes. That would work just fine for you. You see how nice and thick that is from the flour being in there. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of my chicken broth down in there. Okay. Now I have 2 cups of half and half. I'm going to add that in there. We want to splash it in slowly so it doesn't curdle on us. You just want to stir it in there. Alright, that's looking good. Now we're going to add our seasonings. I'm going to add in about 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And today I grabbed the Worcestershire sauce. People who watched my video the other day, I grabbed teriyaki sauce by accident and put it in the Salisbury steak video. I'm going to add that in there. I'm also going to add in about 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. You can season yours up any way you like. I'm going to add in a 1/2 teaspoon of ground mustard. And I'm also going to add in about 1/2 teaspoon of dry thyme. I don't have that ready. I'll add that in off camera so I don't keep you guys waiting. I'm going to add in about 1 teaspoon of salt. If I need to, I'll add more in later. And I'm going to add in a little bit of black pepper. About 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Alright, now I'm going to bring this up to a gentle simmer, and by then I should have my mashed potatoes all whipped together. Alright, now that this is coming up to the simmer, and I made my mashed potatoes, and I'll tell you how I made my mashed potatoes. I took 4 big russet potatoes and I peeled them. Cooked them in some salt water, about 1 tablespoon of salt, and I'm adding my mashed potatoes into the soup as we speak. Then I drain them, I put a stick of butter and left that melt, and then I just put milk in. And I got them extra creamy, probably more creamy than you would if you would eat them as regular mashed potatoes, but we want to dissolve these down into the soup, so that'll help make them extra creamy. And I use an electric mixer to mix my potatoes. Normally I use a hand mixer, but I wanted to make sure I got them extra purified or mashed because you don't want any chunks in your soup. So I'm going to go ahead and stir my potatoes down in here. And you probably get away with 3 large russet potatoes, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work all these potatoes in here. Alright, now that I have all my mashed potatoes in here and pretty much mixing them in evenly so we don't have any potato dumplings. I'm bringing this back up to a gentle simmer. Now you can use mixed vegetables in here, but probably requested peas and carrots because that's what I put in my shepherd pie. So I have a 12-ounce bag of frozen peas and carrots. I'm going to start with about 8 ounces and I'll look at that. I think I'm just going to go ahead and put all 12 ounces in there, the whole bag. I'm going to bring this up to a gentle simmer and I'm going to allow it to cook for about 5 minutes. So thaw those peas and carrots out and cook them through. Alright guys, this is starting to come up to a simmer. Like any cream soup, you don't want to rush it because you don't want it to scorch in the bottom of your pot. I'm going to add in some shredded cheddar cheese. Now it'd be best if you shred your own cheese, that would melt best. But we're taking the easy way out tonight. And I'm going to put in about 2.5 cups. You just want to gently stir your cheese in until it starts to melt. The reason fresh cheese melts better than the already shredded is because they put cornstarch on the shredded cheese to keep it from clumping together in the bag, sticking in one big mass. But when you shred it fresh, it's just all cheese. That was your cheese lesson for the day, guys. Now we're probably at about a little over 1.5 cups. I'm going to put a little more in because we want a good cheesy flavor, and we know our shepherd's pie has cheese on it. And I sampled one of my peas. They're pretty much getting done waiting for this to come to a simmer. I'm going to put a little more cheese in, about 2.5 cups. And I'm going to allow this to simmer just for a few minutes, stirring it until that cheese is good and melted in there. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit of parsley. You can use fresh or dry. I'm just using what I have on hand. I'm going to give this one more stir. Parsley adds a mild flavor, but it's mostly for color. If you don't like parsley, you don't have to worry about putting that in. This is ready to go, guys. Let's go ahead and fix up a bowl and see what we got. Alright guys, let me get in here and try this. See how nice and thick and creamy that is. A little ground beef in there too. Creamy, cheesy, well seasoned. That's really delicious, guys, and it wasn't hard at all. You see me do it on camera. And like I says, if you want to take the easy way out, just use instant mashed potatoes. Just make sure they're on the runny side when you fold them into your soup. Alright, there you have it. Shepherd's pie soup. Thanks for watching, and remember, love what you eat and eat what you love.